So we just finished talking about social facilitation, which refers to us performing better when other people are around. But social inhibition is the idea that we actually perform worse when other people are around. Um, it's it's the negative influence of other, right? It leads to us performing worse because we feel like people are judging us or someone is evaluating us or um, there's just more pressure put on us. So that's social inhibition. Social loafing is the tendency for people who are working in a group to put on less effort than when working individually. This happens all of the time, right? We feel less accountable when we're in a group, so we do less. Think about group projects, right? How many times have you not put in quite as much effort because you're like, someone else will pick up the slack? That's the idea of social loafing. You don't put quite as much effort into it because you think everyone else will do it too. De-individuation is the mob mentality. Remember when we talked about the um, influences on conformity and the idea that in a group, you're more likely to conform? Well, when we get into a very large group, we tend to lose our individuality. Okay. And so in this large group, like a mob or a riot, we tend to lose our self awareness and self restraint, mainly because you feel like no one really is going to hold you accountable because everyone else was doing it. Okay. Um, but there's the opposite effect of this too. Sometimes in a group, you're likely to stand out and stand up for what you believe in because you feel like you're not going to be quite as noticed because you're just one of a very, very large group. Okay. That's the idea of de-individuation, mob mentality. Group polarization is the idea that when you are in a group, the mentality or the attitudes of a group tend to get stronger when you talk about them. Okay. If you're like-minded, your discussion with each other strengthens and your original opinions get stronger. This tends to happen if you think about if you go to like a rally for something like a women's march or the pro-life march, right? Like you have your own ideas and then you go to this march and there's a bunch of other people with these same ideas as you, you're going to like be like, yes, we totally believe it. We're all on the same page. And you're going to be like charged up. That's the idea of group polarization. This can be really beneficial, but it also can be harmful because if you have negative feelings or harmful feelings, and then you get into a group that also is like that, you could potentially leave with even stronger hatred or negative feelings. Groupthink is the idea that we tend to want harmony. we want we don't want to make waves, right? We don't want to make other people upset or nervous, or we don't want them to think of us as that one person who always asks the questions or who always has the weird request. And so usually what people will do in a group is just kind of go along with what everyone else says, right? Just because they don't want to be the one to stand up to the most vocal member. Sometimes this happens and it can be a really bad thing in terms of like juries, right? A lot of times they need unanimous decisions. And if one jury member goes along with this idea of groupthink, they could potentially be sentencing someone to a really long jail sentence, and just because they didn't want to stand up to the most vocal member.